Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the Alpine Tiger. It's the WZ-111 special that Wargaming produced, Tier 8 Chinese Premium Heavy, and it's located on North Spawn of Steppes under the command of Mirrorbank's NA. So Mirrorbank's in her NA account, and she's got the Alpine Tiger, which is basically a WZ-111 with a special decorative engraving on the outside of the turret. It's basically a WZ-111, which is just basically the Chinese heavy tank that they tried to develop to be a match for the IS-3 and the IS-2. Of course, the Chinese received IS-2s from the Soviet Union initially, and they used them during the Korean War, and later on they were actually used again during Vietnam. But they really tried to manufacture their own domestic version of the IS-3, and that's what the WZ-111 was supposed to be. And there is a premium WZ-111, not the Alpine Tiger version, but they decided to bring this one out as well so they could sell you the same tank twice. Well, basically it's got a 122mm gun. Oh, she's been seen by a budgie. Quite a long dial-in time, but look at that. 411, that's high roll because it's 390 alpha, penetrating 186mm of armor with standard rounds, and with heat rounds it goes up to 250. Well, the T29 managed to penetrate her side, and I think that was a 105mm round that hit her, but she took out the Crusader, and she needs to angle better because that, oh there, he's trying again. That's actually, I think that could be a 90mm round, or is it, no, it's a 105, it must be a 105. Okay, he's firing another one in, missed it on that one. She's well angled enough, and the Crusader, well, he gets a shot in, the Crusader SP, that's the Arty. So she's killed the T29, now she just needs to move on. There are two tanks up on the enemy at the moment, and it looks like the enemy's making a strong thrust up the east side of the map, which is why there's so few enemy on this side. I think their mutant's gone up that way, their KV-5's gone up that way, and that means there's only one other heavy that's not accounted for, and that's the Tiger 1, and he's probably gone up the east side as well, which means they're only going to have mediums and tank destroyers, if that, guarding their cap. And Mirrorbanks is actually almost at the cap, and I suspect that there's only Arty around. Is it only Arty? Oh, there's a Super Hellcat short distance away. He's having shots at Miri. She tries to auto-aim one on, doesn't get it. And the Super Hellcat, well, he's doing his best to stay hull down and get shots, but he really is overmatched. He's not going to do well if he gets hit by a 122mm round. He's actually low on hit points already. One shot should be enough to take him out of the game, and I'm pretty sure Mirrorbanks will be able to do that. Well, all she's got to do now is sit in the cap and force them to come back to her. They're at our cap at the moment, but they've probably suddenly realised we're capping this end, and they can't cap at the other end, because if they tried, they're going to get instantly reset. There's enough of our tanks around to do that. Mirrorbanks is actually in platoon with one of the members of the team. Yes, Bad Wolf. He's also in REBRN, and he's up the other end of the map in the IS-2 too. So it does look as if Mirrorbanks has actually forced the enemy's hand, and the Super Hellcat does get a reset by putting a round into her. I don't think she was really concerned about that Super Hellcat. I think she thought the T-34-100 would get him, but she wipes out the Super Hellcat with one round. And the Arty's definitely trying to get her, which suggests that the Arty is probably over in the corner, because she's already come from the west, so I suspect he's over somewhere in grid square J0 or K0, and he's firing in this direction trying to get her. In fact, he's guessing where she is, and the KV-5 has managed to make his way back, but how long he'll stay alive I don't know, because he's got an SP-1C behind him, and he does need to get a reset, and he's firing at the SP-1C, but Mirrorbanks is going to get shots on his cupola. Just needs to line it up, and Well, that one didn't pen because she didn't get the right angle on him, but he hasn't been able to pen her either. Remember, the gun on the KV-5 is not that great, but it does have some glaring weak spots, which of course is the Dalek right out front and the cupola on top of the turret. And what about the best thing about the KV-5 is the fact that it actually does have the ability to ram. When he got the reset, because he managed to track her, but she fires one in, gets a high roll for 407, and now he's been joined by the P-43, and we now know the Crusader actually went up the east side of the map, so that's where he is. They've only got one Arty. She's going to get a shot. Oh, she tracked him. He bounced his shot. He should be firing HE. In fact, the Crusader SP is, but the KV-5 is still firing a armor piercing, and there he's out the game now. But they did get a reset, and so she's starting from 0 again. There's only 4 left on the enemy team, 3 left on Mary Banks' team, and of course the enemy Arty's still trying to nail her but failing. I think he's probably lost sight of her now. The mutant's on his way back down the centre, and we lost Bad Wolf. Mary Banks now at 2.2k of actual damage and 1.8k of blocked. She might get the chance to do some more blocking because it looks like the mutant is being stopped by the TS5, and I suspect also that the P-43 is waiting until Mary Banks gets a high enough number of cap points before he resets her so he can get a defender medal. I know a lot of players are very cynical. They wait. They don't reset straight away as they should. They actually wait until the right moment, pop their heads up, get their round in and claim their medal. Well, if that's the case, oh, he actually went round the other side and hit her from that side. So he's got his... I'm not sure he actually got a defender medal out of that, but he's probably close to getting it if he can get another round in. But Mary Banks is not going to make it easy for him. She fired and missed. It's an 11-second reload, or 10.5. And he's got another reset, so I think he has got his defender now. But of course, she's got a very good tank, because the WZ-111 is quite good, and there you go, he's out the game. 122mm gun against the 90mm gun. I think that's no contest. I think the 90mm tank is always going to go down. He's going to have less hit points to start with. But now Mary is all alone in the cap. The only remaining enemies are the Arty, who's now blind because he can't see where Mary is, and the Tiger one who's in the north. So it looks like Mary's going to be doing circuits of the cap, which is going to make the Crusader very difficult to get shots on her. Even if he has her in sight, he's going to have difficulty trying to put a shell in the right spot. So she's just going to circle. Or is she going to pick a spot? No, she's keeping moving to make the Crusader guess where she is. And that enemy Tiger, he can't come south because the TS5 and the Oni are stopping him from moving any further. In fact, he's stuck over the railway line. He's now having to engage the TS5 or die. And Mary's only got 20 seconds left in the clap. And then she's won. Ten seconds. The Crusader's probably going to get one shot to try and get a reset. The enemy Tiger has been killed, which means now she's done it. She's capped out to win, and that means she's earned a defender, an invader medal rather, as well. Let's have a look at the end of battle stats. Well, second class tanker for Mary Banks NA in the WZ-111 Alpine Tiger. She managed to get a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. She did get 4. A shell proof for blocking more damage than the hit points for her own vehicle. A duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged her. And a fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points for her vehicle. She also got a hand of God for surviving the battle, having received damage from 4 different enemy tanks. In that one it was the KV-5, the P-43, the T-29 and the Super Hellcat. They all damaged her in that game. And she also picked up a Steel Wall for blocking the most damage in the game, and an Invader medal because she capped out to win and got at least 80 capture points in the process. Her win rate in that game was 4,344, which is superhuman come standard, We look at the team score, we can see that she didn't get the highest damage in the game. That actually went to the KV5. 3,263 hit points of damage went to him. 3,147 went to the TS5, who did survive the battle with the cool headed and high caliber. So for some reason the KV5 lost the high caliber, mainly probably because he actually did some team damage and it fell to the TS5 instead. At least that's what I suspect happened. And then, of course, we got Mary Banks with the Steel Wall Invader. And after that, it was the Hellcat on her team with 1,995. And there's the only enemy remaining, the Crusader, who did get a defender. He got 1,836. And that P-43 yes, he got a defender as well, 1,434. When it came to kills, it was shared between the TS5, Mary Banks, and the KV5 on the enemy team. All got 4 kills each. And when it came to base XP, it was Mary right at the top with 1,091. 1,067 went to the TS5, 870 went to the Hellcat. Mary fired 13 rounds in that game, got 11 direct hits, 8 penetrations, no splash, damage of 2,494 hit points, of which 411 were at more than 300 meters, so the majority of the damage was done at fairly close range. She received 16 hits from the enemy, only 3 of which actually penetrated, 10 non-penetrations and 5 hits by way of splash damage. Yes, some of the splash damage ones actually did get the resets. In fact, the Crusader got splash shots to reset, and I believe some of the other tanks that were doing the resets were also firing HE, if I remember. She blocked damage of 2,080 hit points. She also did get hit in the tracks, I should say. Some of these non-penetration shots actually did track her. They didn't actually penetrate the hitbox, but they did track her, and that reset as well. Should point that out. She blocked damage of 2,080 hit points in total, spotted 2 enemy vehicles, damaged 6 of the enemy, killed 4, did 471 hit points of damage assistance, and she got 100 cap points in the cap. On a premium count, she earned 88,926 credits, got 50,000 credits for completing the mission and events, and a total of 138,926. And after repair and ammunition resupply, she took away 118,237 credits. She received 25 bonds for the game and 1,636 XP times 2 for the first victory, 164 for this being a premium vehicle, and 1,636 from personal reserves, took away 5,073 experience points altogether. So pretty good game there for Mary Banks. She won it for her team, mainly by just being obstinate and staying where she was in the cap circle, getting the job done, so to speak, and forcing the enemy to come to her so she can then shoot them and kill them. And thankfully it worked out okay in the end. If that Crusader had actually decided to get a bit closer, he might have been able to get some resets, but I suspect he didn't want to get too close to Mary Banks because he probably thought, if I do, I'm going to get shot and killed. And he might be tempted, or Mary Banks might be tempted to come after me, leave the cap and kill me that way. In fact, that could have happened, but I still think that Crusader missed an opportunity because he could have come back, could have spotted where she was, hidden behind a hill and started firing at the general region where he thought she was located. But he didn't, so she won. If you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like and do subscribe to our channel, please. And thanks for watching.